baby, I still don't care.
And I told her I don't discriminate. I love a neurodivergent. Don't care if it's ADHD or autism, long as the head game working. If she got too much, I do not judge. Your body is tea, you serving. I don't care if the gears in the head ain't turning. 10 in her face,
So perfect.
don't care if you skid so little bit sick, cause I'm down for the syndrome. Or they calling you sped, baby, me too. Guess both of us mental. I don't care about your pronouns. She heard they still trying to hit though. And she told me that she got anxiety, so I'm still trying to hit. So big throw it back.
Back, back, go back.
Cause I'm trying to crack, yeah, I'm trying to crack. If you tell in her face, ain't thinking no waste, I'm trying to
Crack.
Babe, I don't care if you crazy, if you a
baddie,
baddie, I'm trying to
crack.
And she's scared to get judged, baby, I don't give a fuck. If they hate, they can taste both down my nuts, I don't care for them regular us. And Shawty told me she got ADD, that mean her ass got that dump. And I told her hop on my bipolar express, baby, I just wanna bust. And I need a Barbie pen, up in that head like Harley. Cause I love me a Yabba, they be the baddest, but she all boring, sorry. Oh, the face card valid, body valid, neck ain't valid, got it. If the body is 10, I'm unhearted. I do not care if the shawty
Retarded.
or they calling you sped, sick in the head, well, baby, I'm sped too. I've been labeled as problematic. Few schools loose, I was calling me special. As a kid, they gon' say I was sick. Now they call me a genius when I make their head move. So, baby, if you on the spectrum, tell me what you tryna do. And I told her I don't discriminate. I love a neurodivergent. Don't care if it's ADHD or autism, long as the head game working. If she have too much, I do not judge. Your body is tea, you serving. I don't care if the gears in the head ain't turning. 10 in her face, you perfect. I don't care if it's ADHD, if it's ADD, or it's A to Z. If the face on her face costs 10 and her cake got a little shade to it, you a creative freak. She say she a little autistic, babe, but I ain't okay if the brain gon' tweak. I told her I'm game, stop playing with me. If the kitty on the plate, I'll eat. So big throw it back, yeah, big
Do it back.
Cause I'm tryna
Crack, 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 and not the crack.
If you tell in her face, ain't thinking no waste, I'm tryna crack. Babe, I don't care if you crazy, if you a
I'm
baddie,
baddie, I'm gonna crack. Please hit that like button.
No, baby, no, great names. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You wanna feel alive? You wanna remember who you are? Are you?
Hi, thank you for liking. If you're a new subscriber, say I sub. Don't tell me I don't see anybody. Nope. How's everybody's weekend? Yeah, I don't think I see the chat. Nope, the chat. Nobody saying anything? Oh, and now I can see you. Hi, Sean B. How you doing, Mama Mia? Yeah, for some reason I couldn't see you guys. Now I see you guys when I logged out and came back in. Can you guys see me? How's everybody? Hi, Mama Mia. Long time no see you. Do you like turtles? Yeah, I like turtles. Yeah, I can see you, Sean B. How you doing? They need to fix this YouTube shit. I'm back in a second. Yeah, I'm back.
Baby, I'm just trying to crack. And I told her I don't discriminate. I love a neurodivergent. Don't care if it's ADHD or autism, long as the head can work it. If she got too much, I do not judge. Your body is tea, you serve. I don't care if the gears in the head ain't turning. 10 in her face, you And she told me that she got anxiety, so I'm still
trying to hit.
So big throw it back, big throw it back.
I don't know. YouTube has been acting up since January.
I don't care if you're crazy, if you're a baddie, I'm trying to crack. And she's scared to get judged, baby, I don't give a fuck. If they hate, they can taste both on my nuts. I don't care for them regular us. And Shawty told me she got ADD, that mean her ass got that dumb. And I told her hop on my bipolar express, baby, I just wanna bust. And I need a Barbie pen, up in that head like Harley, cause I love me a gambler.
I have my root canal, guys. I'm in a lot of pain.
Shawty read. Oh, they calling you sped, sick in the head, well, baby, I'm sped too. I've been labeled as problematic. Few school schools, I was calling me special. As a kid, they gon' say I was sick. Now they call me.
I know they do.
So, baby, if you on the spectrum, tell me what you tryna do. And I told her I don't discriminate. I love a nigga, I got virgin. Don't care if it's ADHD or autism, long as the head game working. If she got too much, I do not judge. Your body is the you serving. I don't care if the gears in the head ain't turning. You perfect.
We all tired of it. You're not the only one.
If you're crazy, if you're a baddie, I'm trying to crack.
Maybe that's why I'm not getting that many people on this channel.
Hey, welcome to the studio. Yeah, what's up, dude? Yeah, good to meet you, for real. Yeah, come on in. We are running out of time.
It's a secret chord, but David plays and he pleased the Lord. But music for music to you. And it goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the the major lift, the battling composer, hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah. You praise the strong and you needed proof. You saw her bathing on the roof. Her beauty. That's cool. That's cool. Hopefully they start fixing it. She tied you to your kitchen chair. She broke it through. Those are fixed to grow me, hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Baby, I've been here before. I've seen this room and I've walked this floor. You know, I used to live alone before I knew you. And I've seen your flag on the Marble Arch. And love is not a victory march. It's a cold and it's a broken hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Or my two first guys.
There was a time when you let me know what's really going on below, but now you never show that to me, do you? But remember when I moved in you and the holy dove was moving too, and every breath we drew,
Hallelujah. 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 Hallelujah.
maybe there's a God above, but all I've ever
But
learned
once
from
of love,
love was
don't
how
want
to
to
shoot
see
somebody
somebody
over
over
to
to
you.
you.
And it's not a
I know,
cry
Sean
that
B.
you hear at night. It's not somebody who
Sings a light.
it's a golden
It's a broken hallelujah. 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 Hallelujah.
That rendition of Hallelujah is iconic, but the song's origin
Thank you,
story
Sean
is
B. Thanks for
surprisingly
being a
moving.
great mod.
Leonard Cohen spent 5 years obsessively crafting the track, writing over 80 verses before cutting it down to the version we know. Even after that intense labor, Columbia Records rejected
Sean.
the album, with the label president infamously telling Cohen that while they recognized his talent, they weren't sure if he was actually any good. It is a harsh reminder that even masterpieces can be overlooked by those holding the keys to the industry. Shifting the energy completely, here is Karate by Leo State Trail.
Karate, what the hell?
Come get like karate.
This for Rosewood. Northside Houston, our homestead. Every soldier still standing. Every king we lost. We changing the game. Listen. Pull up on over slabs, breaking next tonight. Rosewood jewels, wet black candy reveal, sitting right. Peanut butter seats, fifth wheel hung swingers low. Trunk popped open, let that system bang and bass flow.
And not my type of thing.
Look, I be the king of my village. Say that the ceiling's the I think that I get.
What the hell?
Oh, fuck it. Just come outside.
I'm outside, that's a good song.
Take your time. Get your life. peace of mind. It's like always, they just want a peace of mind. I've been focused on the future, never on right now. But I'm sipping that kombucha, either pink or brown. I'm the one that introduced you to the you right now. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Every light,
Every night.
but alright.
But alright.
Tryna fight
Gotta fight.
in the night.
In the night.
Come alive.
Come alive.
Ain't it sweet?
In the heat.
Pulsates with a frenetic, almost disorienting energy that captures the darker side of late-night escapism. That title isn't just a stylistic choice.
Thank you,
it is a
everyone that's
deliberate
here. I
play on
appreciate it.
Fiend. Through this lens, Travis Scott paints a
Bluetooth disconnected. Bluetooth pairing. Bluetooth connected.
Yeah, I'm a lot of pain in my tooth on this side. Oh, look, Savannah Guntery. Oh, Savannah Guntery, yeah, look.
Who was kidnapped from her Tucson home back in February. Multiple law enforcement sources now confirm that one of the notes connected to her disappearance, which was received not long after she was taken months ago, said that Ms. Guthrie had died shortly after her abduction. CNN Chief Law Enforcement Intelligence Analyst John Miller joins us for more on that. So this was a second note which was reported on the time. We didn't know the details of it. Savannah Guthrie had put out a statement about it, responding to it. What did we learn now about what it said?
So we have known since the night that note was being dealt with by the Guthrie family and the FBI what it said, which is the second note said basically it wasn't intended to work this way.
No, it's hurting because I went to the dentist.
Some things happened and Nancy Guthrie is dead, and that it wasn't intentional. The note wasn't an apology per se. There was a tone of remorse to it, meaning they didn't mean to.
I had a root canal.
According to the author of the note. The thing that makes the note significant is it came from the same electronic source as the first note, which demanded the ransom. A very different tone.
The pain should go away in 2 or 3 days.
We have Nancy Guthrie. We want $4 million to this Bitcoin address. If it's not done by Sunday, it goes up to $6 million. After that, we're going to have to do something drastic, which was clearly a threat. This note was, she died a couple of days after the kidnapping while she was being held.
And why did law enforcement want to keep that private for so long?
Well, this is really interesting, Anderson, because both of these notes went to local TV stations in Tucson. And at the request of the FBI, both those stations and CNN and at the request of the family, kept the contents of the note confidential while they worked on two things. One, verifying that they believed the notes were from the actual kidnappers, and two, investigating whether the claim in the second note that she had passed away was true. Now, we don't know that for certain, despite the family's efforts in that kind of coded language in that communique, where they said, we got your message and we understand, but we want Nancy to come back to us.
I just want to remind viewers what Savannah Guthrie said after this note was received.
Well, I remember that video. That means she was dead already.
We received your message, and we understand.
She's dead. That's that day. They say that.
We beg you now to return our mother to us so that we can celebrate with her. This is the only way we will have peace.
Oh, so
This
she's
is very
dead.
valuable to us, and we will pay.
So we now understand more
That's
of the
sad.
meaning of that. How were authorities able to conclude that this was legit? Do you know?
The first note, which comes from the same source as the second note, had certain details about the home, about where items were placed, not just the kind you could find on the internet by looking for pictures of Nancy Guthrie at home, but where certain items were placed that night and other details that made the FBI ultimately conclude that that was the legitimate note. The second note came from the same place and basically said, you're not going to hear from us again, our business is done, sorry it worked out this way. And the investigation is still very much alive. There is no particular leading suspect, there's no key person of interest, but that said, a lot of work is being done on the video that's been collected, on cellular traffic in the area, on other leads. And frankly, this coming out now, even though it came out from a leak in a different publication, frankly, they think it may stir the pot because one human tip from someone who actually knows could advance the case a lot faster than what they're doing right now.
John Miller, thanks very much. TMZ has also been close to this story from the start, receiving communications from people claiming to be involved or claiming to know who he is.
So she died in February then. That's sad.
Harvey, can you just walk us through what you posted about today, about the alleged ransom note received by TMZ and why you posted that?
Yeah, we didn't post the ransom note, but we did receive the first one, along with two local television stations in Tucson. And I know the FBI believes that to be real. They worked with us for weeks with our IT team, trying to find out who these kidnappers were, and to no avail. They were not able to crack the email. What I found interesting is on the heels of getting that, we started getting emails from a guy who said he knew the kidnappers and that he knew where Nancy Guthrie was, he knew where the kidnappers were, and he wanted 1 Bitcoin in return for the information. Interestingly, the person who sent us that the series of emails also said at one point around the same time frame that time was no longer of the essence. And that really piqued my interest because, if it was a scam where this person was saying, I'll tell you who the kidnappers are and where Nancy Guthrie is, why would you take away the urgency? And it just at least made me think that this was legit. And so we had ongoing contact with the FBI during all of this. And about a month ago, I called the contact person that I had over the FBI, who was always very responsive, and just said, look, this case has clearly gone cold, and I've just had this nagging feeling that this person who's been sending us these notes saying, I can tell you where she is and who the kidnappers are, that I always felt that this person was legit. And I said, look, if we do a documentary and we actually give that person a Bitcoin, if it's a scam, you don't lose anything. But if it's real, maybe this could be a meaningful lead. And so we didn't want to get in the way of their investigation. Yeah. And I asked him,
I agree, Sean B.
Would we do this? I mean, would it interfere with you? And he said he thought it was interesting. And he said he would run it up the flagpole and get back to me. I had one more conversation with him where he was non-committal. and they've just ghosted me. And I've called him about 6 times. And I just found that really interesting because the FBI really was on this and they really want to solve the case. But I just found it really interesting. There's something about this guy who sent these emails that must still intrigue the FBI, because the fact that we've just suddenly been ghosted, I thought was unusual.
Are you still thinking of doing that, even if the FBI doesn't say yes?
No, because look, I don't know whether we would unwittingly interfere with the investigation, and the only way we would do this is if they would consent to it. So, we were waiting, but without that, no.
What do you think, though, about why law enforcement would be revealing
Yo, what
these
you doing?
details at this moment?
Yeah, thank you.
Over there.
Exactly, that's a great question. So we've seen them go through so many of the leads. We saw all the investigative efforts that we were aware of, that we were privy to. And now there's the new note that we're being made aware of is critical. So this could be a juncture where law enforcement believes perhaps that the abductors are in fact listening to what is happening now. This could be a reach out.
Yeah, I agree, Sean B, that it is sad.
Be a reach out to the abductors to let them know that this is the time to reach out in some way to let us know where Nancy is and to give this family final relief. The messaging itself, Aaron, as you pointed out, is also interesting because now we're shifting. The captors have shifted from a point of leverage to now it seems like they're trying to manage the narrative, right? This was an accident, something went wrong, we didn't mean it to go this way. Whatever the wording is, that's a narrative control. And so what we're seeing is that perhaps they're thinking, in the event that we are caught, or we want the public to see us in this light, as opposed to this as murderous kidnappers.
So, I know recently when there were remains found somewhere outside of Tucson, it turned out that they were returned to Native American populations, that they could have been thousands of years old. Okay, I'm just making the point that it's a vast area.
They found remains that were thousands of years old. Wow.
But if Nancy Guthrie did die, as this indicates, at the very beginning of February, and investigators still haven't found her, what does that mean? I mean, are you surprised in this time that we are living in that such a thing could be possible?
Oh, absolutely, Aaron. Along with you and the rest of this nation and the world, we're all stymied, like you're pointing to. All the ring cameras, all the possible people that could be out there, all the surveillance cameras.
The kidnappers are probably gone. They probably left the United States.
Mistakes being made. All of this just brings to the forefront of everything had to go perfectly, almost perfectly, for this to happen without them being detected, without there being that they've been brought to justice yet.
That's sad, Sean. Rest in peace, Nancy Guthrie. It is sad. You know, people die, and that's sad when people die. But when you die, when you get murdered, that's sadder. Why Cat's Deli sucks?
Used to be one of the greatest things New York City had to offer, Cat's Deli pastrami sandwiches, which were one of the highlights of New York City food culture. But over the last decade, because of Instagram and a lot of hype on social media, they've gotten a little lazy with their product where it's way too expensive now and the quality's gone down. I'm just wondering why it sucks now. I mean, we gotta go back to the year 1881 in Russia, where Alexander II, one of their biggest leaders there, was assassinated. And even though it wasn't the Jewish people who did it, it was actually a bunch of socialist revolutionaries, the Jews still got blamed, and there was an intense persecution on them from it. Because of it, there became this massive wave of Jewish people from Russia moving to New York City in droves, where in New York City in the year 1880 only had 80,000 Jewish people that made up 7% of the population, but by the year 1900 it was over 1 million, and now 1/3 of the New York City population was Jewish. So because of that, Jewish delis really picked up, where there were very few of them in the year 1880, but by 1900 there were 3,500 of them in New York City, but they were changing the recipes a little bit to accommodate to American lifestyle. Biggest difference being the size of pastrami sandwiches, where what happened was pastrami was definitely not available in Russia because the price of meat was so much more expensive than America. So a lot of these Jewish immigrants began making the pastrami sandwiches really big to send photos back to their family in Russia to show how cheap and abundant meat was in the United States. But then what happened was in 1888, Cat's Deli opens up. And what makes it a lot different was during this period, Jewish delis were really only catering to the Jewish community because they were mainly kosher. So they weren't open on Saturdays. They had all these food standards behind it, and they were much more expensive. But Cat's Deli wasn't actually kosher initially. So because of that, it was much more available to regular people, and non-Jewish people started going there. Because that Cat's Deli was one of the few authentic Jewish delis to survive New York City during the 20th century, well, what happened was a lot of Jewish immigrants began getting wealthier, pursuing different careers. So they started closing down the deli business, and other groups of immigrants took over. And then also at the same time, the price of real estate shot up massively in New York City, especially in Manhattan, so delis couldn't survive there. But Cat's, because it had a much broader base of people interested, was able to survive. Still, for decades, Cat's Deli was not really a big tourist thing, whereas this thing for locals that if you knew, you knew. But then that started changing in the year 1989 with the movie When Harry Met Sally, which made over $180 million. It was a massive hit, and Cat's was featured heavily in it, so because that tour started going. From there, it only gets bigger with Instagram culture in the 2010s, where everybody starts posting about it, and there's a bunch of viral videos on Facebook and Instagram showing how great the product was. So because of that, there's now lines out the door, and they're doing more business than ever, and they're also selling millions of dollars every year online of the product. Despite all the success, there are still some problems and some really big complaints, with the first one being the price, where in the last 15 years, the price of a sandwich has gone up 190%, which, just to put that in perspective, inflation's gone up in that same period of time by 70%, so this means it's almost triple what inflation is. The reason has absolutely nothing to do with the price of the food or the location itself. It's just because of this massive line that was built on social media, where so many people want to take a picture of it to show they were there on Instagram that they don't mind paying the $30 price for a sandwich. And then they're also accused of changing the recipe to meet with demand, where they're now cooking it much faster than they used to, so a lot of people say it's much stringier and chewier than it used to be. It's just the competition, where now more Jewish delis are opening up with cheaper, better products that aren't famous on Instagram. Social media is destroying this, and with that, I'm Charles Peralson.
Was I wrong, or was this guy just being a jerk? When I was selling...
If you're innocent, you've got nothing to worry about.
That's a lot of money. That's a lot.
Obviously, that's bad.
That's a lot of money. $30 for a set. That's expensive. $30 for a sandwich. Very expensive.
Vodka orzo with rotisserie chicken and fresh cracked pepper. This is genuinely the best thing I've ever made. I love orzo because it looks and feels fancy like a risotto, but it's really easy to make. Okay, we're gonna start with the shallot. Gonna take out the center so we don't cry. We're gonna dice our onion. You really don't have to worry about making these super even. You just want them to be kind of small. I'm gonna use an entire shallot. You can use half of one, whatever your heart desires. I'm also going to chop up some garlic, crush. I've said this before, I prefer garlic chips over doing like a fully minced garlic into my.
Do you order out? Does your family order out a lot, Sean B? How you doing, Marisol?
Do some olive oil, add in our shallots and garlic. I like to put these into cold oil. If I were to put these into hot oil, they would just fry, but I want them to cook slowly so that they get nice and soft. I just have this on medium-low heat. I'm going to get all of the garlic and onions saturated in that oil and just let it cook slowly. I like to add in my pepper right now so that the pepper will bloom in the oil and it'll give it a more fragrant taste. This has been cooking for about 1.5 minutes. You can see that everything's kind of the same color. So I'm going to go ahead and add in my tomato paste right now. This is going to cook it down, give it a really nice savory taste. Okay, it's nice and cooked down. My onions and garlic are soaking it up, and I'm gonna go ahead and add in my orzo. I'm going to toast my orzo in this mixture. And at this point, I'm on a low-medium heat still, and I'm just gonna let the orzo soak up all of the.
No.
NBC6 News at 7 starts with breaking news.
Wow.
We are staying on top of that breaking news tonight out of the courtroom where there is a verdict in the George Pino trial. A jury has found the South Florida developer not guilty in the deadly 2022 crash near Boca Chica Key. That verdict was read just minutes ago where George Pino was found not guilty of second-degree manslaughter and vessel homicide. Listen in here with me on
one not guilty.
Verdict. We, the jury, find unanimously as follows. As to count one of information, manslaughter of Luciana Cristina Fernandez, the defendant is not guilty. So say we all on this 27th day of June 2026, signed by the fourth person, C.F. In the Circuit Court of the 11th Judicial Circuit in Fort Miami-Dade County, Florida, State of Florida versus George Pino. Case number F.
A George Pino.
Judge Marisa T. Verdict. We, the jury, find as follows. As to count of the information, vessel homicide of Luciana Cristina Fernandez, the defendant is not guilty.
And again, that verdict read.
He was acquitted.
Minutes ago. NBC6's Christian Colon, he has been covering this trial, has been in the courtroom.
He was acquitted of vessel homicide and first-degree manslaughter.
Presented to the jury.
An 18-year-old's birthday celebration turned to tragedy when developer George Pino, the birthday girl's father and captain of the boat, plowed into a channel marker in Biscayne Bay.
He was reckless. He was criminally negligent. No one but this defendant captained that boat. No one but this defendant decided the speed that it should travel.
For the past 2 weeks, prosecutors argued Pino was driving nearly 50 miles per hour with a boat full of teenagers when he crashed. The boat capsized. 17-year-old Lucy Fernandez drowned. Her father told jurors about the last time he saw Lucy alive.
What did she do before leaving?
She gave me a hug. And I remember it clearly because that's the last time I held her alive.
Pino admitted to drinking 2 beers, but prosecutors accused him of lying when he blamed the phantom boat for the crash.
I would submit to you that maybe the evidence suggested, just as he wasn't exactly truthful about how the crash happened, maybe he also wasn't so truthful about how much alcohol he had consumed.
Pino's attorneys told jurors their client was not impaired and said the crash was an accident.
He may have committed human error. He may well have
Accidents do happen.
He may not have looked up in time to see the marker, which they were following light. That does not make him a criminal.
Seated right behind George Pino, his family in the courtroom there as he embraces his wife and the rest of his family who was there. This is video that captured that moment when that not guilty verdict was read. Pino embracing his wife, embracing his family who were there seated right behind him in court. And moments ago, cameras also captured Andres Fernandez. This is Lucy Fernandez's father. There he hangs his head low after hearing the verdict that was read.
Wow, it's sad for the defendant and the victim. Because when you're a defendant...
Let's bring in News Nation senior national correspondent.
I think like 2024, like 2 years ago. So... it's hard to get a not guilty. Most people are convicted. Only 1% of trials people are acquitted. So you have if you go to trial, you have a 1% chance of getting acquitted. That's not much. Those are terrible odds. Very terrible odds. All right, Sean B. I'll be back later. Thank you for joining me, Sean. I'll be back. If Rich doesn't go live by 2, I'll be back, all right? Thank you for joining me. Bye.